Hello fellow builders and welcome back to the bench. Mediocre Modeler here. We're on part 3 of our Moff Gideon. I think it's part 3 of our Moff Gideon build. There have been some updates and stuff in there. I lose track. Whatever the title begins says is where we are. But where are we? What are we doing? We're working on the soft goods. We completed the major portion of the armor, which is the armor. But now we're getting into soft goods, and I've chosen a pattern that I'm going to make the top tunic part out of, but we have to cut it out first. I'll say this. I like having enough open space to do what I have to do, but getting up off the floor isn't the funnest thing in the world. At the suggestion of Mrs. Mediocre Modeler, I'm tracing the pattern onto another piece of transparent fabric. I'm a bit heavy-handed, and it just makes it easier for me to be able to use the pattern and cut around it and save the pattern itself. So we're going to go this route. Tracing the pattern in and of itself isn't a hard thing to do. I just have to remember to add all the little signs and symbols associated with sewing so I know how to notch it and all those other things. I don't necessarily remember what they all mean, but we'll figure it out. But at this moment, I gotta go get dinner. I can't remember what I had for dinner that night, but I'm sure it was really good. But back to the sewing pattern. So this is what I end up with. I end up with a mostly exact copy of what the pattern is. This material, I think this material is what you use to stiffen collars, and it's not quite what my wife was telling me about, but it works, and I could see the pattern through it. So once I cut these pieces out, I do what I would do with the normal sewing steps. I lay the patterns out on the fabric, and then I do a rough cut. Lay them out, just cut them out, leaving extra around there so I could sit down at the table and not sit on the floor and do a more refined cut, a finished cut. All right. So, and I had to remember, first thing I do, put the pattern number on there, because I got maybe one piece and then realized, wait a minute, I didn't mark that one. So if you do this, remember to mark your pattern, your fabric pieces. So once everything's cut out, I can start the sewing process. But here's the thing. I love to build. I really do. And I would love to build every single facet of this cosplay. Time is against me for one thing. Sometimes the prop department goes and buys off-the-shelf stuff to make the props anyway, which makes it easier for us prop builders, as long as we can figure out what they are. The things that I'm mainly working on are the accessories, the side things that I want to buy. So some of the accessories, the accoutrement, if you will. Those pieces would mainly consist of the gloves, the gauntlet, the belt, the boots. I'm toying with weapons is a whole nother subject, but as far as the gauntlets and the belt, I found someone online that has a set. Let's check it out. To the project box. Project box. Okay. In the project box, the one thing that I got from Magic Wardrobe on Etsy, the gauntlets. I could not have sewn this. Well, in time. In time I probably could, but I don't have that kind of time. So, they're Velcro. Very nice. They have the pattern on them. That was the main part that's going to sell it. So, you've got the gauntlets. Oop. All right, 2 gauntlets, and you've got the belt, and this belt is just fabulous. There's just no way I could have done that and this in the time that I've got. And it's probably not as distinct as it could be, the different directions, but it's still fabulous. Very happy with that. Now, it also came with gloves, and I already had gloves, so I really wasn't concerned with it, but these are the gloves that it came with, and I'm not going to complain. I will probably use these on another project, but compared to the gloves that are the actual gloves, which I figured out what they were, if I didn't have anything else, these would work. They're just fine. Okay? But keep that in mind. Keep that part of there in mind. Okay, so we're going to set those off to the side. The gloves that they actually use are, I do believe they're paintball gloves. And I got these Mad Dog paintball gloves. And if you check the screenshots, this is what they are. Now, these were only like $13 on eBay. And they're not, or what was it, on Amazon. They're definitely better constructed than these. I mean, you look at the comparison. But here's the thing. You've got this piece, which is missing from the gloves. And it's basically just a little control module. Well, at least that's what I've been calling it. But this is their trick. The ones on screen are probably these, and all they need something to cover up Mad Dog. So they came up with this little module. Here is how I fixed that little problem. I solved the problem the way I always solve the problem. Fusion 360. Or I go build something. I build something myself. So I kind of went by that whole fake it till you make it type thing, because my rendition isn't exact. But at the end of the day, its only purpose is to cover up the end of the strap. So this is what I've come up with. Put it in the 3D printer. Let's see how it came out. And this is what I came up with. This was the first rendition, and it looked a little bit small to me. And if you hold it up, it would work, but it still felt a little bit small. So I decided to go back in, edit the program, and make it a little bit. And here's the new one. Like I said, it's not bigger by much, but I think it's enough to make the difference, to make me go, okay, I got it that time. I did change a couple of things. I made some of these holes a little bit deeper. I made this piece a little bit lower. I kind of smushed the top of it down and rounded it off a little bit. But for the most part, everything else is still the same. Those parts are still the same. It just has better coverage. And so, like I said, its only job is to be glued onto the Velcro tab. And I'll use a contact adhesive to do that. And it will just cover the Mad Dog up, and it'll give me kind of like a buckle to grab to strap over and lock that in place. So with that, I've got those. Don't ask what's going on there. I don't know. With these little extra pieces, I've thought about starting my own little Greebly shop on Etsy or something like that, to where I can just little stuff. I could use this somewhere eventually, but at the same time, I thought, maybe I'll put these out there, and if somebody wants to pay $2 or $3 plus shipping for it, get some mediocre modeler stuff out into the world. That'd be kind of cool. Haven't decided. If you think that's a good idea, leave a comment in the leave me a comment and let me know what your thoughts on that are. But that's not the only thing we did. The other thing I've got is the chest piece has the switches, and I had made some switches to go on there. I went into Fusion 360 and made my own switches. Some came with the 3D file that I got, but I just didn't like them. They seemed too big, and I wasn't sure how well they would go with the modifications with the expansion. So I made myself an expansion plate because I could glue the switches on, but I wanted to make sure they were level all the way across. So again, I went into Fusion 360 and designed this little plate. It fits right into the chest armor piece, and these pieces here, the switches, will slide. Now with paint, it's a little bit tight, and I might have to do a little bit of sanding. Yeah, I've sanded that one. It should fit. Yeah, it'll fit just snugly in there. I'll still have to glue it, but it's secured. They're evenly spaced apart, and once this gets all painted, I can glue this. Just take the whole assembly and glue it into the chest armor, and I think that's going to be fantastic when we do that. So let's work on maybe painting some of this stuff, but we need to put this all back in the project box. Finding as I get older that I'm becoming a little bit more organized. I don't know if it's a matter of being organized, or I set things down, forget where they are, and being organized just makes it easy so I don't lose stuff. It's going to be one or the other. I'm marking the slots 1, 2, and 3. Now I'm going to mark the switches 1, 2, and 3. That way I know when I put them back in there, the proper switches are going in the proper slots. First things first, a layer of white to me a primer. I know. When I started this video, I said, we're going to be working on soft goods. And then it got into accessories, and I'm 3D printing stuff, and that's kind of the way it goes. I feel like your hobby should be fun and relaxing, but challenging. And the sewing part is challenging, and the model building part is easy. I know all the steps, I know how to do all that. And it's not, I'm not purposely avoiding the sewing thing, but do you remember Pee Wee's Big Adventure when he's rescuing the animals from the burning pet shop, and he gets the, he gets the dogs out and the mice and the birds, and he's with the birds and everything, and he stops and he looks at the snakes and he looks at the snakes and everything is out, and he finally just like, I gotta do the snakes. Well, kind of for me, that's what sewing is. Sewing is the snakes. you know. But we're going to get it done. But before we do that, in the midst of doing my research, I found that I found someone else who was kind of in the exact same spot I was, as far as he's doing a Moff Gideon build, and he was starting from scratch. He had just gotten his 3D printed chest plate, and he needed to work it. And I sent him a message saying, hey, I'm doing my stuff too, and we've been chit-chatting back and forth and sharing information. As a matter of fact, he just got his boots, and here's the information that he shared with me.
Hey, just wanted to let you know that I got my Moff Gideon boots in, and for the price, they turned out pretty good. I mean, is it completely screen accurate? No, but I think this really gets the point across really well. It's got that bottom strap over the laces, and then all the way up the shin. Fits real nice, very flexible sole. The insole is really flat, so I just have to get some Dr. Scholl's to replace that so I can wear it more comfortably throughout a convention.
You see that right there? All that was pertinent information, because you can look at these accessories and stuff online from these cosplay companies, but you don't know unless you get information from someone who's got them in their hands, and then they can flesh them out. To that end, the accessories that I actually got two separate kits. It was the gloves and the gauntlets, and then the belt and the holster. And I forgot I had separated the holster because I really wasn't planning on using it, but I figured I'd show it to you anyway. So here's the holster. It's made of a very thin leather-like material, It's got the Velcro strap for adjusting over your belt. Now, I would not use this over the belt that he has that for your costume. Especially if you get a blaster to put in this, if it's resin or it has any kind of weight, it's going to pull it down on that one side. So you'd have to come up with a different way to secure the holster. It's not that big, but it does come with a snap. It's a nice, good snap. And it's just kind of all sewn. So if I get done with everything else, that might be a last minute thing that I tackle his blaster. I've already started doing some research to figure out exactly what actual gun they use, and I think I know, but it's still going to take some modification. I have seen a 3D print file for one, but I don't want to go that route. I know I'm making it a little bit hard on myself by doing it the long way around, but I've got Fusion 360. If I can maybe get the regular gun 3D file and print that and then cut it up and add the pieces that I designed myself, it may not be the easy way around, but it's the way I like to do it. It makes me feel like this is mine. I've made it my own by building the things already. And that's, again, back to your hobby. That's what it should be doing for you. So, what do we got to do? The next thing we need to do is we need to glue the switches onto that guy. Maybe glue the little control things on the wrist. And maybe then we can get to sewing. Since using the contact adhesive is stinky and apparently highly flammable, we've relocated to the shed. There's no sources of ignition out here. Not that I'm using anything that's going to cause that, but it is definitely stinking. So we've got our supplies, and just right out of the paint booth are, oh, you know what? Look really good. They look really good. I know I want so the way I've set my switches is up, down, up. And I know I want it to sit on there like that. What I don't have is how they sit, how the wrist part sits on the glove. So we're going to have to run back into the house, grab a reference photo. But before we do that, we're going to go on ahead and get this going. It would probably be better if I could lay this flat. Can I lay this flat? What I don't want is the adhesive to run down onto the... I'm going to run in, we're going to grab my phone for reference photos, and then we're going to grab like some kind of a tarp or something we can set that down on. Right back. Looks like it's going to lay in there just fine. But just put a little contact adhesive on the back of this guy. Just give that a couple of minutes to do its thing. There's a fly in here and he's bothering me. For the gloves, according to the reference photo, you know, I haven't even tried these gloves on, so let's do that. Seems like that would have been an important thing to do to begin with. Okay. Okay. What I do like about these gloves is you got an elastic there, you got the pull tab, and it's very loose. So it's going to be very easy to get these gloves on and off. At the wrist, it's not holding real fast or binding, and you can tighten it as much as you want. So we're going to do, let's be efficient and try on both gloves. Don't half do it. Make sure we do have the left and the right. Yep, looks good, feels good. Okay, so what we're going to do for the gloves, it's this faux leather on the top side and Velcro on the back. We're just going to score the top of the leather material just so that the contact adhesive can kind of seep in and get a good grab. Do that on both of our pieces. even on the back sides of these, I did sand it, but you know, we could put a little hash marking on there too. What's it gonna hurt, eh? What's it gonna hurt? So, let's see if we can't get you a little better shot of what we got going on down here. Okay. So, the weird thing about contact adhesive is you brush it on and then it starts to like fog over and not look. It look kind of like it's dry, and that's the time you apply it. So I'm a little bit behind. I should have my gloves on already. But we're just gonna put some lightly on the Mad Dog tag only. Over here as well. Right. So, some clamps to clamp them on. Get up, down, up. Sit you down in there like that. Okay, so that's that. Yeah, that, okay. Oh, no. I was missing its spring clampy do, but that's okay. That's okay. Okay. Alright, so all we can do now is wait like 20 minutes or so and see what it looks like. Okay, let's see how we did. Start with this guy. Oh, that's good. Oh, I like that. I like that. All right. The only other thing that what I'll do while it's flat like this, I'll go grab some paint. In these circles here, there was one white and I think the other one was red. I might as well just lay the paint down in there and just let it dry vertically. Horizontally. As for our gloves, well, okay. I could probably use a little bit more time, but grab it like that. Okay. that out. Check that out. Not gonna say it. No, that's pretty good. Yeah. Very happy. Very happy. Okay. We're gonna throw some paint on that, and then we're probably gonna have to call it. Back to you in the Mediocre Modeler Studios. It was starting to get a little bit chilly out in the shed, so I decided to bring everything back in the house. But look at that. Look at that. That looks so good. I'm very happy. Between that and the gloves. And the gloves. Look. Starting to get excited. But again, that means I didn't get to the sewing. And I ran kind of long. And that kind of happens whenever I have one of these long, drawn out periods where I don't get to record. Then when I do, they run long. But I promise to you, we're going to start the sewing. And I think that one of the main things that was throwing me off was how on the bottom of his, underneath the bottom here where you can see part of the tunic, there's kind of seems like there's a flap over there, and I couldn't figure out how I was going to do it, and I figured out how I'm going to do it. So I'm excited. I'm excited. Now's the time. Now's the time for you to go build something. Yeah, it's spring. I had to start cutting the grass. And that's going to eat into our build time. And time is short for Louisville. But you know what? We're going to get it all done. Before you know it, we'll be in the car. We'll be on the road with the guys. We'll be heading up there to Louisville to see all our good friends. And I do look forward to seeing my good friends from Wonderfest. But until we can get that done, I want you to have fun. I want you to be safe. And obviously, I want you to go build something. I am happy with that. That is pretty good. Okay. Pew 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 pew.